Is that a grapple hook? There's a grapple hook? Dude, a lunging heavy would be terrifying. Generic Control and the Duck Goes here, back with some more Bad Weapon Academy by Fish Stick on a Stick. Today we have the Warrior Spirit, which I have never used as my most guns or weapons in Team Fortress 2. I have not used. I'm still relatively a new player. I do stream Team Fortress 2 every single Friday. I'm usually playing on Uncletopia with the viewers, which you're more than welcome to join me and play or watch. I'm always reading the chat and whatnot. But I haven't used most of Heavy's melee weapons, so I've definitely never used a Warrior Spirit. I know this video came out 4 days ago, and you're probably seeing it on Sunday. Last week, I did the new video by ST Black ST. If you want to check out that video, I'll leave it right up there. Also, linked down below in the description. I'll also play some channel with all my other TF2 videos. I'm pretty sure I made a playlist on my channel with all of the Bad Weapon Academies in reacting to those. If you want to check that out, which this video will also be in, so this video will be in 2 playlists. You want to check that out. Shout out to patrons. Couldn't do this without them. They love it, and I have a paywall channel. I read every single one of your comments, so leave some down below, and I hope that you were subscribed. So it's absolutely crazy. I'm excited. I don't know what the point of these things are, but we're gonna find out what they are today. So let's jump on into it. All right, more Bad Weapon Academy.
Brought to you in part by me.
Bye. Oh.
So yeah, I have a T-shirt now. Comes in 5 different flavors. You can get it from the link in the description or from the merchandise tab here on YouTube. So if you want this shirt and you want to support the channel, go ahead and buy it. If not, that's cool too. And since this is my own product I'm shilling here, I don't need to reach an arbitrary time limit. So let's get straight back to the video.
He doesn't. Wait, it actually says how many of your souls.
The bear
That's cool.
is on a tear.
The bear. I've never used this weapon.
Has escaped the zoo.
Is that a grapple hook?
And he's coming.
There's a grapple hook?
He's coming for all of you.
Wait, so bear. Wait,
oh
hold up.
Fucking god!
Have power up. So yeah, that's a custom server. That's not an official server because I don't think the grapple hook actually exists in the game.
Welcome to Bad Weapon Academy, where we take a look at the worst weapons TF2 has to offer, and I show you how to best utilize them. I've mentioned in the past that heavy melees really struggle to find their place,
and I never use them.
Utility while they're active. You have the gloves of running urgently, which increase Heavy's movement speed and let him get to the front lines quickly, or escape a sticky situation in a pinch. Then you have the Fists of Steel, which let Heavy tank frankly broken amounts of damage at the cost of his usual suppressive nature.
God, going for the
Heavy's
taunt kills.
combat-oriented melee weapons aren't all bad. The killing gloves of boxing are very fun to use and pair well with the shotguns and Tomislav in particular.
What are the ones that make people laugh?
And the Holiday Punch, while basically being a huge meme, is actually pretty good for stuffing Ubers when normally Heavy is essentially powerless. However, one of Heavy's combat-oriented melee weapons falls noticeably short of even the funny meme mittens.
The
that's
Buffalo
the
Steak.
Warrior Spirit. An extremely confused and baffling design that I think was meant to pair well with the Buffalo Steak sandwich, but ultimately falls short in most general use. How short does it fall exactly?
Oh, that's the attack. The attack is just that?
Out. Once again,
you would think it'd like claw, but it says just that.
One stat is all it takes to make a weapon basically not even remotely worth
damage
using.
vulnerability.
2 of its stats are quite good. It boasts the
single
highest damage buff of any melee weapon in the game, dealing a massive 30% extra damage to enemies, meaning you also deal 85 damage a hit with this weapon. You also gain 50 health back on a successful kill, keeping you in the fight for just that bit longer if you're able to capitalize on it. Now, 50 health isn't exactly the biggest boost. It's only 1/6 of a Heavy's health overall, but it's a nice bonus for what's obviously a risky play in killing someone with your melee. Well, this definitely sounds like
the final swipe on
stock fists already. But even then, combat-centric heavy melees are hard to get use out of since Heavy is so powerful at melee range anyway, so the downside should be something like a slower swing speed like the KGB has. It can't be too bad to compensate,
damage vulnerability.
Right? Right? Well, on top of boasting the highest damage increase,
Punchiest Puncher
Spirit also brings home the glorious poop-stained trophy of
the
highest base damage vulnerability in the entire game as well. Another 30%.
I guess you're either swinging for the fences or striking out.
Valve seemed to think it was when designing this thing. To put it in perspective,
that's not fair at all, no.
Deals 35% more damage to a target, meaning pulling out the Warrior Spirit is 5% short of marking yourself for death just for pulling it out. Now, on something like the escape plan, that makes sense because the weapon is so strong that it's a mainstay of almost any competent soldier's arsenal.
Wow.
And it's designed to reward players who can catch out the retreat of a soldier now moving at Mach 5.
I thought he was about to make it out of that.
The warrior spirit, it's designed to punish the heavy who pulled it out in the first place for putting himself in what's already a disadvantageous position. And in exchange, your melee hit, as heavy, the class who can do this at melee range deals 20 more damage and heals you if you manage to kill the person you're attacking.
Which is already hard enough to do. Especially with how bad hit reg is in this game.
Stock melee weapons on all classes except Scout and Spy will deal 65 damage a hit. Enough to two-shot any light class. In other words, enough to two-shot 4 out of 9 classes unless the engineer is using the gunslinger. Now, 85 damage per hit is enough to two-shot also medics, and that's it. Oh, and those gunslinger NGs, so it's a much more solid 5 out of 9 classes. It falls 5 HP short of two-shotting pyros and demos, unless the pyro is holding the power jack, which if he is, you'll never catch him in the first place, or if the demo is holding the claymore, or using the Eyelander without booties. Unless that Claymore demo is also using the booties, but listen, we're going to be here for a long time if we go through every single possible Demo Knight health threshold. Let's just move on. Although, a critical hit with the Warrior Spirit is enough to one-shot a soldier, even if he has the battalion's backup equipped, though not popped, obviously, and any Demo Knight, no matter how many heads they have, unless they're using the Katana and get a lot of overheal. On the subject of overheal, these crits are also enough to one-shot medics and gunslinger engineers as well as fully healed kunai spies. So hey,
it does look rather fun.
2 mini crits is now enough to two-shot 8 out of 9 classes, which sounds far more appealing. So it's time to grab your buffalo steak and get punching, right? Well, let's slow down there. Remember that the buffalo steak sandwich has a hidden 20% damage vulnerability while the effect
20% on top of 30%?
This only serves to further increase the amount of damage you're taking.
You want to talk about a glass cannon?
Is run at enemies with your melee slightly faster than normal. This increased damage vulnerability brings your effective health down to around 190. Now, this
190 is heavy, is not enough. That's a big target.
Far more so than the one this combo offers to your benefit.
Oh no, oh no,
2 pipes, dead. 2 meat shots, dead. 2 rockets, dead. Fire, dead. Dead, 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 dead. Now let's be clear on something.
It's like using the big earner as Spy.
Use the buffalo steak,
dead. Somebody sneezes, dead.
Worst thing in the world to use. I mean, fuck, dude. I think the stock fists are actually your worst bet there. Or maybe the eviction notice, but that weapon will have its day. It's horrible, horrible day. But hey, it's good damage, heals on kill. There's an incentive to use this, just not the strongest incentive. Now, I'm talking about the base game modes at the moment because the buffalo
I wish it did a swipe attack
more
though.
Talk down the line. It is viable in certain scenarios. We'll just get there when we get there. I won't repeat myself too much from my buffalo steak episode. All I'll say is you need to be as stealthy as possible. A full frontal assault is an incredibly easy way to die. And I'll say this particular loadout is going to be far more effective on defense than offense. You'll have less sentries to worry about, and the sentries you do have to worry about are going to be a lot more forgiving for your functionally much smaller health pool. But just because this isn't your worst option doesn't mean it's a particularly good one either. The thing is, a lot of niche gimmick situations where you'd think the warrior spirit does well, it's completely outclassed by other melee options. Usually the killing gloves of boxing. Want a melee to use for the buffalo steak? Why not turn those mini crits into full crits that can even last
I'm pretty sure I've
steak's effect duration
done this exact thing on medieval mode.
Fat Scout? 1 melee kill and you have guaranteed shotgun and melee crits for several seconds. Wanna be a hoovy? Those bear claws don't look nearly as friendly and lovable as these soft winter mittens, even with that adorable bear companion on your shoulder. And anytime I find myself in this sort of situation where a melee weapon doesn't seem all that great, I think,
that explains why he's
what
using the
about
grapple.
Manpower? That game mode has an entire power-up dedicated to stupid melee weapons like this. And it gives a base increase to melee damage to begin with.
Maybe this is an official mode.
The Warrior Spirit will now deal 110 damage per hit. That's pretty nuts, and with the grappling hook, you're more able to close the gap on enemies easily. Now, in theory, a lot of this sounds amazing. In practice, it's a lot more complicated.
Yeah, this is like chaos.
Closing the gap on enemies,
I've never played this game
mode.
It's
for alerting enemies to the fact that a heavy is now latched onto them, giving them little choice but to shoot at you with your insane damage vulnerability, which
just for having them out
results in your death. The second big problem is the knockout power-up itself. Most of the changes here are really great for the warrior spirit. More health to make up for your vulnerability, insane damage,
it's a punching heavy.
And your melee hit removes the enemy's power-up. So what's the problem? Well, you deal insane knockback to anyone you hit, meaning if they don't die in one hit, you launch them
you're still
out
attached.
Of your effective range,
Fall damage,
which is now your only available range. Now you will be killing a lot of people in one hit. The exceptions can be brutal and end up with you waiting on that knockout power-up for quite a while. And again, because of your damage vulnerability, something like the KGB will just outperform the warrior spirit in a lot of situations. Full melee crit.
Is that like a crit?
Will one-shot.
That's a crit.
I found most effective
grapple
was
hook.
what I call the jumping spider heavy. You grapple up into a corner, out of sight, above a pathway, and you simply wait for someone to come out and you get the drop.
You drop down behind them.
This is kind of boring and tedious, but it's definitely effective and also pretty funny when it works out. Some of the other powers also work out for you here. Like strength, which can be pretty devastating if you pair it with the buffalo stake or a revenge power-up, or resistance, which makes you quite a bit tankier even with your vulnerability. Ultimately though, manpower isn't the best place to flex the warrior spirit's strengths. It only serves to remind us all that the only dev left updating the game exclusively plays it, and of that time Solarlight single-handedly made them nerf the shit out of Demo Knight specifically in this game mode. Which had a lot to do with Demo Knight and more to do
I don't
with
think I've seen this.
Because the Islander is
I don't think I watched that Solarlight
video. But hey,
video.
it's not terrible.
I've seen a couple of his videos, not that one.
Saw the intro.
Okay, so in normal game modes, no dumb gimmick strategy is going to work out for you. But what about if you're just playing normal heavy with a regular minigun or Tomislav or whatever and a sandwich or a banana or something? Well, in that situation, it is a perfectly serviceable melee option that you will almost never find a good opportunity to use. Again, your miniguns, even weaker damage
why does it exist?
Natasha, are so good at melee range that punching someone isn't going to be the most enticing
especially
option.
Taking the damage vulnerability.
So makes you incredibly vulnerable. One of the only classes who will want to get within your melee range to begin with is a spy, but you do at least have a significant advantage against kunai spies now, as the extra damage allows you to one-shot them, assuming they don't have a stab under their belt or they're dead-ring around. And you get to give them a taste of their own incredibly annoying medicine by stealing their life force away from them, although yours doesn't get returned to you as overheal. With the Buffalo Stake, you can also one-shot Big Earner Spies and Sandman Scouts, but those aren't nearly as common, and you're making a big commitment before you engage
Southwest kind of made it common.
Where you'll likely find the warrior spirit helping you out is in moments of downtime. When you have a decent defense setup and you're running around moving to a dispenser or a new position, maybe even moving to the front line from spawn, and maybe you happen to run into a spy or a flanking scout.
I mean, if you're using a Hulan heater and you run out of ammo.
If you play on a server with random crits enabled, that flanker can be anything but a heavy, and they're basically as good as dead 60% of the time. And even if it is a heavy, he'll go down to another swing or two while being too slow to escape reasonably. Basically, you need to catch people by surprise. If you're heading towards them, they're heading towards you.
I would have got air blasted into the
stratosphere. Yeah, it has a decent chance of working out for you, but that applies to heavy in general. The only difference is they don't hear the revving of your minigun, which, if you're using the Tomislav, is something you don't have to worry about to begin with. I guess you get to keep your full, very slow movement speed, which is certainly something, I guess. Ultimately, I think you'll still find more success with the more conventional heavy melees, but if you're just playing heavy normally, it's not a horrible choice. It's just a bad one. It won't get you out of a pinch like the crew. It won't save you against snipers or literally anything else ranged like the Fist of Steel. And it won't let you go on a one-man army rampage like the KGB. But it's a perfectly acceptable side grade to the stock fists. Okay, so the two
I guess if you have nothing better to
this
use,
weapon works well, especially with the Buffalo Steak Sandwich. One is obvious: medieval mode. Here, the damage vulnerability really isn't all that big of a deal. There's no important health thresholds being crossed, except fully charged Huntsman body shots can now two-shot you, but your head is such an easy target that it's not something you'll have to worry about too often. You're also able to take advantage of your mini crits and random crits more often thanks to how many Demo Knights there are. You can 2-tap all but the most jacked up Islander Demo Knights with the Buffalo Stake, and one-shot any of them with a random crit. And since enemies drop health kits on death, it pairs very well with the heal on kill you get from the Warrior Spirit to begin with, making up for the extra damage you'll end up taking in the fight.
The sniper's still there.
If you take away everyone's guns, increase Heavy's movement speed, remove Pyro's ability to right-click, make the Warrior Spirit do even more damage, and make it heal more than twice as much, then yeah, it starts to look like a much more viable option. I do still think the KGB are better here, but since most medieval mode servers are going to have random crits enabled anyway, it's not the biggest loss in the world to lose out on guaranteed ones. When it comes to killing other players, this is your best bet for getting real use out of the Warrior Spirit. And the Buffalo Steak Sandwich, as we discussed in that video.
Which is what I do. I'd actually use the Warrior Spirit,
the most effective way to use the Warrior Spirit in the game is in MVM. Now, I can't take credit for this strategy. I never done it myself.
Is it because of how fast it attacks?
TF2, who makes content specialized for MVM. 2 cities in particular. So, as it turns out, pairing the Buffalo Steak and Warrior Spirit together, along with some crit canteens, makes Heavy a much more effective tank buster. Normally, Heavy's minigun damage against tanks is drastically reduced.
Yeah.
So while you can shoot at a
I tried Wave 666 a couple weeks ago. I need to put that video up on the gaming channel.
Even on waves that don't give you all that many enemies to shoot at while the tank runs its course. But with
that tank's getting
bodied. Now you can rip through a tank much more efficiently, especially with the faster swing speed upgrades and crit canteens.
Yep.
In this situation, the Warrior Spirit is finally objectively better than every other heavy melee. You don't need to get a kill in order to get crits like the KGB. You don't need a speed boost like the GRU. You can't tickle a tank, unfortunately.
That would be funny.
Anything like the Fist of Steel, meaning your damage vulnerability doesn't matter at all, and neither does the vulnerability on the Stake, meaning they pair perfectly together, just as nature intended. And the best part of all, since the Brass Beast is the best minigun to use in MVM, this means the Hibernating Bear set actually has legitimate synergy in this one specific instance.
Oh, don't you get like bonuses for using sets?
We figured out why these weapons are paired together. It's a thing of beauty. And that's it. That's the Warrior Spirit. There
what would
really
he change
isn't
about
much
it?
to say about this weapon. As I've alluded to several times throughout this video, it's a weapon that really struggles to find its place among Heavy's melee options, to the point where the only situation it's absolutely the best in is against a bullet sponge incapable of fighting back in a PvE game mode. It's sad to see that the only thing it's really good for outside
at least it's not the gas
mode is role-playing as a bear, which, hey, I'm sure the furries get a kick out of, but I'd like there to be a bit more to
Always gotta mention them.
What can we do? Well, for starters, buff the Stake in general. If the Stake is better, the Warrior Spirit is better, since it's one of the only things that pairs well with it currently. Something I'd like to see on the Warrior Spirit is a sort of lunging pounce attack, like a bear would do. Obviously, something like this would need some sort of cost, since you can't have Heavy gaining too much mobility, even if it's tied to a melee weapon. So maybe a system kind of like the one in place with the GRU, where each lunge will lower your total health pool. This would make for a much better substitute.
Dude, a lunging Heavy would be terrifying.
I would get rid of entirely for some other downside. Either that, or go the KGB route of giving it basically a nothing downside like slower swing speed, because who cares? Being a straight upgrade to the stock fists clearly does not matter if every single heavy melee besides the eviction notice is anything to go by. Or you can do what I ended up doing. For those of you that don't know, I have a new server where we test out balance changes to weapons featured on the channel.
Oh, he does?
And a lot of them are pretty good now. For the Warrior Spirit, not only does the Buffalo Stake now give you a 15% damage,
I can play on there,
as well as reduce knockback while
I like
using
Concutopia because that
but the Warrior
gets like
Spirit
so many people
itself
in.
No longer has a damage vulnerability. It's been replaced with an honor bound effect like the Katana, but instead of removing health, it'll mark the Heavy for death if he doesn't manage to get a kill with it. Already, this works much better, and the Buffalo Stake and Warrior Spirit combo is much more fun to use as a result of these changes. And since this is basically run away, if you want more information on the server, you can use the link to my Discord server in the description. There's a special channel just for the rebalance server, so you can get updates when there's balance changes, and give your own feedback on the rebalances. I'll also include a link to all of the balance changes as well as the server IP, and if you want to support the cost of running the server, I have a link to my Patreon in the description as well. So, with all of that out of the way,
that's really cool that he does that.
That's it for now.
How much does it even cost to run a server? Uncle Dave must be spending a ton of money.
Hopefully, this video has helped you figure out what you want to do with it. For now, show those medieval Demo Knights and MVM tanks your right to bear arms.
No, but I love Demo Knight. Oh man, no, there's got to be something. There's going to be a clip at the end. There's always a clip at the end. That's 137,000 views. Crazy. Oh man, there's gonna be a Kyogre here. I'm probably gonna do a Pokemon Nuzlocke next week, or this coming up week maybe. Okay, here we go with the clip. Okay.
Fucking
pain.
Slow ass swing speed. Holy shit! Thank you for the 80 Australian dollar dues.
80. Oh, for the server. Cool. That's an $80.
I wish I got super chats instantly like I did with the fucking PayPal donations.
What?
Anyway.
Oh. He just plays it off like nothing just happened. Just like, okay, well, I just got... Oh, got a telefrag. That's funny. That actually happened to me one time, and everyone was like, explains to me what happened. I was like, what's going on? I didn't realize that, like, how a teleporter even works. Still don't really know how a teleporter works. I hardly ever play Engineer. I think I only recently got my very first, like, actual, like, person teleporting using it, which is kind of crazy. But this is a great video by Fishstick on a Stick. Another great one of the Bad Weapon Academy. Thank you to everybody that let me know that he uploaded a new video. Like I said, this is going to be in the Team Fortress 2 playlist and in my Bad Weapon Academy reaction. So he puts these videos out quite regularly, which is impressive and awesome. I definitely will react to future ones as well, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. Do you use the Warrior Spirit? Please let me know. I do read every single comment and reply to a lot of them as well, so that's how you know I'm reading them all. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. I might have to check out his server at some point, and maybe I should start my own server at some point. I really do not know, but I really hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly did. But until the next video, take care and cue the music.
We were playing